Sparks of Fire with Pastor Azuma Hotomobasi.
Hi, this is Hotom Azuma, the lead pastor of the Furnace Ministry in the city of Calabar, Cross River State, Nigeria. It is my pleasure to reach out to you once again through this medium. It is my prayer that you are making good progress in all areas of your life. Today, once again, we're still talking about walking out of bondages, living a life free of bondages. Today, I'd like to quickly analyze few sources of bondages. First of all, what is a bondage? It's any form of limitation, imprisonment, restriction, restraint placed on a person, whether it is partial or total. So there are people who are spiritual slaves. There are people who have been tied down by one habit, by one thing or the other. They are caged and they lack the capacity and ability and energy to fulfill their God ordained purposes. These are the people we are talking about. People living in spiritual bondages, physical bondages, emotional bondages, financial bondages. Now, what are the sources of these bondages? The Bible tells us in Ephesians chapter 6 from verse 12 that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world. So we must agree, number one, that there are entities that don't exist in bodily form like humans, who are also operating within our space. They are entities. Now, what gives them the leverage? What gives them the rights to oppress or to enslave people? Number one, through inheritance. Lots of families, particularly in Africa, are birthed in idol worship. Every family that has that lineage has a heritage of bondage naturally by birth. By birth, lots of people are born into bondages. So until a person comes into Christ, he becomes a new creature. All things pass away, everything now becomes new. But he has to renounce the old covenants consciously. He must be aware that ancestral covenants do exist. Bondages were already signed in the past with families by deities. So there must be a consciousness to refuse them, reject them, renounce them. Now, what are other sources through which people are enslaved into these bondages? Food. We see in Exodus that in Genesis, first of all, the Israelites migrated into Egypt because of hunger. There was hunger in the land, and then that purchase of food led them into another territory that eventually led them into a bondage. So a lot of people are being enslaved today by food, by drinks. They are enslaved. And so the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 12, it said, all things are lawful unto me, but not everything is expedient. Everything is lawful. It's lawful for me to do anything I want. But it says not everything is necessary. So you see, if you do not obey the law of necessity and you do just anything you want, drink as little as it is can enslave you and put you in a bondage that you can no longer save money. All the things you should have achieved for your family will be spent on bottles of drinks. So you see, food can enslave people. Today, even children are bewitched by food, drinks, and other forms of substances that they take in. People are bewitched and they enter into occultic alignments and all forms of witchcraft initiations through food, material things. So dear friend, it's important for you to be aware so that you guard yourself against infiltrations that can lead you into demonic bondages. It is my prayer for you that you will be set free in the name of Jesus. Any form of bondage you have found yourself, any form of limitations you have found yourself, I command that yoke to be broken from off you in the name of Jesus. Be released and be set free. I like you to know that God has commissioned us to take care of such situations, God has raised us and commissioned us to preach the good news and to set men at liberty, whether it's spiritual, emotional, financial. Jesus is the answer. Join us every Wednesday by 5 p.m. at the Place of Fire and Transformation Ministry in the city of Calabar, number 35 Bishop Moynagh Street, State Housing Estate, Calabar. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. Every Sunday, 9 a.m. Bishop Moynagh, number 35. Join us and you will not regret your coming. Fire is transferable, and by virtue of coming to where we are alone, just stepping in there, you carry a fire that cannot be quenched. God bless you. See you again next time.
You can worship with us at the Funnels Ministry every Sunday 9 a.m. power service, Wednesday 5 p.m. communion and healing service. Highway, Calabar. For prayers or inquiries, please send us a text message or send us a message on WhatsApp on 0806 421 1234. You can also follow us on Facebook at Hotumobasi Azuma.